Denver is defending its plan to force homeowners to sell at below market prices and leave houses they love because they mistakenly ended up in the affordable housing program through no fault of their own. I'm just going to say this. In any city with political checks and balances, this would be a scandal and it would be on the national news. But instead, Denver says it did nothing wrong. And the city refused to commit to our Brandon Ritteman that those people, those innocent folks, won't be able to stay in their homes.
Over the past weeks, we've met several homeowners at risk of losing their homes over this issue, even though they never knew they bought a home in the city program. If the city forces them to sell, they'd make a lot less money than market value right now. But some of them also really want to stay in their homes. Can you promise them you won't force them to sell the home?
Yeah, again, this is a new issue for the city, and we're looking at each case individually. I can't make any guarantees necessarily on how each and every case is going to turn out.
A group of city officials held a press conference today saying they want to keep these homes affordable for qualified buyers.
These are homes that were sold sold as affordable homes. They are part of the city's affordable housing stock, which is very important to us, and we want to preserve those units as affordable.
We found cases where they weren't sold as affordable homes. They were sold at full market price, and to an unsuspecting buyer, if you look into the case and don't find malfeasance on their part, you're prepared to kick them out of that home to keep it in the stock?
No, our approach is compliance resolution.
Compliance resolution is the name of the new program the city launched today, sending certified letters to 300 homeowners asking them to sign up to get 6 months to figure out what comes next.
But if they don't qualify to be there, the compliance is get out.
No,
isn't it?
No, that's just what no, that is not accurate.
Okay.
You're making it too simplistic a question.
But it turns out it is simple. Once you see that letter the city sent to these homeowners today, it gives them two options. One, complete an income verification and qualify to be in the home, or two, sell the home to an income-eligible buyer. That's the Compliance Resolution Program.
Are they agreeing to whatever resolution the city comes up with by signing up for this program?
To my knowledge, there's no agreement. It's just a participation form for them to sign.
But that's not what it says in the fine print. The letter says right there, if you sign up for the Compliance Resolution Program, you're, quote, admitting non-compliance and saying that you're willing to, quote, comply with any and all corrective steps required by OED, the office enforcing these affordable housing rules. For Next, I'm Brandon Ritteman.
So again, to the hundreds of scared homeowners out there getting these letters from the city, offering a 6-month grace period if you only admit that you're out of compliance. We know the city is saying no strings attached, but you just heard Brandon explain it. And now here's the legal opinion of an attorney who represents some of the homeowners.
So the city says no strings attached.
If the city says no strings attached, I'm not quite sure what agreement they're talking about. There is a very large string attached, and that is executing this agreement to participate in the voluntary program waives your rights to fight, enforcement by the city.
Mayor Michael Hancock today asked state regulators to come in and make changes to prevent this kind of thing from happening again. Despite the failure of the city's safeguards with affordable housing, Denver city leaders say they met their obligations to run this program properly, even though a quarter of it came apart in front of them. Denver's 420 rally has been drama for a while now. You know, the trashed park last year, the foot race to the permit office to win the right to hold the party this year. And now, finally, perhaps, we are approaching the calm that you would associate with a massive marijuana smokeout. The city tells us Euflora, the cannabis company, is on schedule to pull off the event next month. Euflora lost the race to the permit to this guy, Smokey Ortiz. The city says Smokey cheated, snuck in a side door. They also think Smokey was secretly working with the prior rally organizer who got banned when Civic Center Park was trashed. Euflora has met with the city to talk about a trash plan as well as security. They have an event planner in there trying to keep things running smoothly. Final plan for the event is due to the city tomorrow. As we have mentioned, they're going to go big this year. Performances by Lil Wayne and Lil Jon, along with the regulars at the 420 rally, Lil Caesars and Lil Debbie. Big companies catch a lot of flack for doing bad from time to time. Only fair that we give them credit when due. Say Public Service Credit Union, $2.3 billion organization, big time, all right? But today they were all about the small stuff, focused on veterans who just need a little boost, offering hundreds of suits and shoes and ties to veterans, all for free today. Almost 160 veterans have taken advantage of Public Service Credit Union's program, including a guy we met, Donnell Jones, a.k.a. Dee.
They have so much to offer us here, and I'm glad I found out about this place. Yeah, this will be a talkative piece for women, I think. I'm going to take this one. Don't you think? I think you think so.
I love that. A talkative piece for women. The unemployment rate for Colorado's veterans is nearly 6%. That is double Colorado's overall unemployment rate, and it's also higher than the national unemployment rate for vets. So as part of this free Public Service Credit Union program, they were offering complimentary resume and interview training. Good look, a lot of confidence. Go out there and get it. Census is a significant deal, although you won't really be hearing about it for another 2 years, which one voter told us seemed odd when he checked his mail and found a census form waiting for him. Our Marshall Zellinger explains why we should be looking closely now that it's election time.
A Denver voter tweeted us these images of some political mail he just got. It's titled 2018 Congressional District Census, but it has nothing to do with the every 10-year census that counts the population. In fact, it has nothing to do with counting at all. I mean, it does ask how old you are, similar to a census, but the regular census doesn't ask if you voted for Donald Trump. Or do you think political correctness has gotten out of hand? Or should America take military action if necessary to keep North Korea from using nuclear weapons? This is really a political survey from the Republican National Committee in Washington, D.C. And if you look close enough, you can find that under the title and on page 2 of the survey at the bottom underneath the request for money. By the way, the voter who got this in the mail is a registered Democrat.
Our concern always is any voter confusion, and we tend to get calls, people get mailers.
Denver Elections Director Amber McReynolds responded to the same tweet asking for a copy of the mailer.
Because we care about the quality of service and want to make sure that we have answers appropriately to the questions that might come in, we always want to get copies of mailers. I think that voters could certainly get confused by that, thinking that it is an official census document.
Probably because it says census in bold, like I have authorized our 2018 census and your registered census. We reached out to the Republican National Committee for answers about the look of this survey and who it's being sent to. Our email was not returned, and we're actually not sure if it was even read. For Next, I'm Marshall Zellinger.
All right, so the RNC isn't helping us out. Maybe you can. Email next@9news.com or hit us up with the hashtag HeyNext if you got that survey. So listen, we do not need this program to become Denver's Lost and Found. But to that dude who lost his spare tire going over the mother of all bumps on 8th near Cheeseman Park yesterday in our road construction story, hey man, your tire is still out there right where Marshall put it by the side of the road. Perhaps you're just traumatized to go back due to the abrupt pavement cut that has knocked tires off 2 cars just while we were watching. But Public Works has smoothed out the bumps, so it's safe to go back to get your tire. It's just sitting there, all by itself.
Next is launching you into your weekend like a rocket. Hey, is that a Next rocket? Danielle is watching your Easter weekend weather. And while America laughed at the viral story of the week, a family in Colorado cringed. It's actually not funny at all. Next.
Nearly every week, somebody will ask if Next is going to expand our newscast concept to other cities and other states. I say let's aim higher. Behold, launch the Next rocket. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that is an actual rocket, but it is not actually our rocket. It does say Next on it, though. This is the latest SpaceX rocket launched from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. It's a Falcon 9 rocket carrying 10 satellites. They'll be used for cell phone and data networks. Iridium's replacing its entire satellite network, some 75 total.
That is amazing. The wind's picking up quite a bit up in the mountains and into the foothills. 40, 50 mile-per-hour gusts around the Loveland Pass, Berthoud Pass areas through Boulder up to Longmont. Just kind of a windy night for a lot of folks. Mostly cloudy skies still out there tonight, but hey, it's looking pretty good. We had a nice mild afternoon in the 60s. All that changes for the first half of our Easter weekend. Storm system to our north producing some snowfall in Montana. The Dakotas slowly but surely makes its way into Colorado pretty much this time tomorrow night. Tonight, though, partly cloudy. We'll be down to about 37, 30s for eastern Colorado. Nice and mild this evening, and even up in the mountains, 20s and 30s. The rest of tonight, pretty quiet and calm. This takes us into tomorrow morning. Few clouds lingering across the northeastern plains. Light snowfall already coming down towards Steamboat Springs, but really we'll be watching tomorrow afternoon. Fort Collins through Greeley, a little bit of light rainfall around 4 or 5 p.m. Cooler air arrives, and then we'll be watching that transition to snow. Right now, it really doesn't look like much of that moisture will make its way into Denver. If anything, though, you're traveling along I-80, that's where you might find a bit more of accumulating snow, and also in our northern mountains, about 1 to 4 inches. Tomorrow, daytime highs a little cooler in the mid-50s, 40s in Sterling and Yuma, but if you're in southeastern Colorado, 60s, upper 60s and low 70s. Looking pretty good for Easter, low 70s on Monday around here before another storm system arrives. Kyle, more rain and snow as we head toward April.
All right. Thank you, Danielle. I'd like to wish a meaningful Good Friday and a happy Passover to all who are observing them today and tonight. For those not totally familiar with Passover, we found a woman named Lynn Sunshine, real name, to make us smarter in a minute as families sit down to their Passover Seder.
Basically what we're telling is the story of how the Jewish people were freed from Egypt. They were held as slaves in Egypt and they were finally freed, and this is the story that we tell every year. The plagues. Pharaoh in Egypt would not allow the Jews to leave. God finally imposed 10 plagues on the Egyptians, and it ended with the slaying of the firstborn. And it just so happened that he finally allowed them to leave. There's a lot of symbolism. We have the matzah, which symbolizes the bread that they baked in haste and it didn't rise, so we eat unleavened bread. The moror is a bitter herb. It's horseradish, and it's ground up and is symbolic of the bitter herbs, the bitterness of their lives. The shank bone is the symbolism of the Paschal lamb. The Jews were saved in Egypt because God spared those that had placed blood on the doors of their homes, and the blood they used was the blood of a lamb. Passover is the most celebrated holiday of all the Jewish holidays. Even those who are very, irreligious and mostly secular will also celebrate Passover.
Two women tell us why they hate us as in the media, for what we did this week. They thought the people who watched this program would want to know the real story. Then Dr. Max and Steve find a scientific way for you to win points with your significant other. It's not about you, it's about what's around you. Next.
Yeah, I would say 12.
Welcome back to my desk with Dr. Max Wachtel.
The new segment, My Desk with Dr. Max.
This is the photo that everybody on Earth likes to make fun of, the one of me where I look like I'm 5 years old.
Yeah, I would say 12. You look like you're about to, but it's a good photo.
When I show this off to people, they're awfully impressed by it.
They should be.
So you looked at some research about showing your photo to significant others.
Yes, yeah, so if you want people to like you more and be more affectionate to you, what you need to do is show them this picture and then immediately show them pictures of puppies and bunnies.
Okay, so there's me.
Go for it.
And here's
Puppies,
a picture
bunnies.
of a puppy.
Oh, that's a cute puppy.
Here's a picture of a bunny.
Oh my goodness, those are even cuter.
So then do I go back to me or no?
It doesn't really, well, I kind of like the bunnies better, but
we'll bring them back up.
What the study shows is that if we show our pictures to our significant others of ourselves, quickly followed by puppies and bunnies, they like us a whole lot more.
News you can use. Try that out at home. Dr. Max, thank you.
The local impact of a viral story in the media this week made us think again. This is why they hate us. Newscasts across America had a good laugh about the guy in North Carolina who broke into a Pizza Hut, ate a pizza, and then called 911 claiming to be Jesus Christ. He also told the dispatchers he has schizophrenia. That did not always make the news stories. Two sisters in Colorado saw the news, and they saw America laughing at their brother.
Dispatcher on duty probably never imagined that he'd be getting a call from Jesus.
It's sensationalism. It's how quickly you can get clicks. It's headlines.
911, what is your emergency? Yes, this is Jesus Christ, and I just broke into the Pizza Hut.
It's much easier for folks to take a soundbite from this guy who thinks that he's Jesus breaking into a Pizza Hut and end it there and laugh.
This guy's Richard Quintero. We call him Richie. He's 46. He's our brother. He's a son. He's a family member. He's a schizophrenic, and he's been struggling for 30 years. Monday morning, we got a call from a relative in Oklahoma who said, "I just heard Richie on the radio."
How'd you get over to the Pizza Hut? I'm from heaven, sir.
No clue it would spread like wildfire. They literally will take the sentence before he says he's a schizophrenic and the sentence after he says he's a schizophrenic and talk about those pieces in the story.
We're used to navigating the illness that is schizophrenia, and we're used to Rich going in and out of the system, but what we're not used to at all is seeing somebody that we love and care about spread literally on television screens. I would argue that it need not be covered at all, honestly. It was a 911 call for a nonviolent crime in a small North Carolina city. It's no wonder people don't trust news when this, a simple story that is real, it was a 2.5-minute phone call. That's it. Don't cut and paste and mold it into something that it's not.
Well, I keep getting kicked out of places. I got schizophrenia, sir.
Maybe there is actual lighthearted stuff we can be laughing at, and we can be adults and have serious conversations about the things that aren't funny.
Isn't that some real perspective? I know we joke around a lot here. We try to be careful not to make fun of people, especially anybody who's obviously going through a rough time. It is Friday night, so your good news makes it onto the TV box, and you filled our email box with comments about this operation. It is Friday when we finish the week with the headlines of your life, your good news, the stuff that doesn't always make it here. Colleen Stanley told us about a grandson about to graduate from Navy boot camp. Janice Phillips says she's lost 87 pounds. Brad Bagby became a dad over the weekend. You'll get these. Roberta Jacobin's husband was just saved by the skilled team at St. Joe's. And lastly, a note that we got from Jerry Summers celebrating 57 years of marriage today to the love of his life, Sharon. Jerry told us when they met, she was lovely, blonde, ponytailed, penny loafers, and Bobby Sox high school senior. Jerry said, "I am without a doubt the luckiest guy ever." All that is good news indeed. Finish with your feedback. Victor Kurgan's curious about the mess in Denver's affordable housing program. Says, what if homeowners don't comply? I would not lose my home or sell it at a loss to correct a problem created by the city. Well, then they're probably going to go to court, Victor. Could you imagine a situation where we have foreclosures or evictions? Sheriff's deputies come to these houses? I can't imagine it. Sharon Dennis says, your jacket tonight is the ugliest I have ever seen you wear. Thank you, Sharon. And Humphrey says, cannot make a judgment on the yellow jacket. We need to see it with the matching kilt. No, you don't. See you next time.